Well, I don't know how highly anticipated it is, but I'm excited about it. It's the first time I've been streaming on a Friday in a while. How's everybody doing? My name is Stuart Davis, Flawed Man of God, here in my uh nice, cozy little relaxed corner of the internet where I've created this channel for us to get together to talk about the faith, right? Talk about the faith in many aspects, current events, you know, whatever's going on with you, questions, answers. But mostly what we're doing is stuff like what we're doing tonight. We've been deeply involved in a multi-year project where we read a couple of chapters of the Bible a night in order from Genesis to Revelation and discuss it. How does it impact us? What are questions we might have? And, I say we because, you might hear me and I might be the one talking, but you are more than welcome to participate. You're encouraged to. I want to hear from you. We are a very small group here, right? And uh it has been an effort to continue to stream consistently. I think I finally got a plan together. But it is an opportunity for you to get into this small group and hang out with us and let your voice be heard. Because we are small, that means that if I can assure you, if you've got something to say and you put it in that chat box, I'm gonna read it and react to it. Much like Mr. Felty is here tonight. What's going on, buddy? Good to see you. Glad you. I know you can't make the Wednesdays, or the Wednesdays are tough, but I'm glad that you'll be able to shuffle on in for the Friday streams. Um, I'm I'm excited, right? I'm excited about these to see how these short books go. We're going to finish Joel. It's probably going to be, and I say this because and I say this every time I say it's going to be a short stream. It usually ends up being something long and protracted. But it should be a short stream tonight because we only have one chapter to go over. And I mean, it's decently sized, but certainly not the two chapter content that we're used to. I feel like this is the first short book we've gotten to read because I think that the only thing closer to this, Ruth was 4. Okay, this is be the shortest, I think. Yeah, Psalm, Proverbs, Ecclesiastes. Yeah. Lamentations is not that short. Neither was Hosea. Joel is the shortest. And and I think Ruth was just way longer. Um, Here we go. Wait, where was I at? Ah, there it is. Joel. It was a little bit longer in content. Um, Joel, we're seeing just a reminder of things, right? Um, much of like much as what has been written down uh in the Old Testament as part of the books of prophecy. It's not much different here, right? And Joel is much further back than most of what we've read already when it comes to prophecy. So it just reiterates the idea that God warned the Israelites for a very long time that they were not on the straight and narrow, that they were indeed in non-compliance. Well, we read that. We read that on Wednesday. He will restore what the locusts have eaten. Oh, actually, I don't think that. That actually might be today. It might be today. Maybe. We definitely covered what how do I not remember this? I literally just read this a couple days ago. Um That's the noise of chariots. Deliverance promise. Maybe it was at the end of this. Fig tree. I will compensate. Oh, maybe this is it. 25. What's 25? I will restore to you the years that the swarming locust has eaten, that the hopper, the destroyer, and the cutter of my great army, which I sent among you. There it is. Okay, 225. 225. Hey, we're right there on the same page. Thanks, Matt. Yeah. Yeah. We've got deliverance here and not like the movie, guys. Let's not go there. I know we got some mountain folks who sometimes tune in. I'm not picking, but I am. But this is going to be the shortest book we've read so far, and we're going to cover it. We're going to finish it up tonight, and then we'll start into in a couple of weeks, because I'm not going to be here next week, with Amos. There'll be an Amos for a few days, then Obadiah for a single day. Depending on how we end on the Amos, we might, if it's 8, if we do 2, right, we should end the night. We might do Amos and right into Obadiah. That might mess up my my stream titling, and I'm not sure if I can deal with that. Jonah's the one I'm really looking forward to, because Jonah's a good part of the you're paraphrasing, Matt. Paraphrasing. And I think you were right. You were right on target. Jonah's good for us to knock us down a bit when it comes to, lording over our piety and how special we think we are. And well, I take that back. Jonah's a very good example of kind of the attitude of the prodigal son's brother. Not quite. Jonah's a little bit more, I think, outwardly upset, right? I don't know, and it's kind of an interesting thing. It's like, why would you? This is not how we should act when we are faced with somebody who has done many great things, committed very many grave errors, but realized their error and changed from it. And Jonah's a good reminder for us that God gives all of us second chances, and we should rejoice not just for when we get it, or not ignore the idea that we are given second chances and grace and forgiveness and redemption and all that has to offer. But we should also celebrate it when it happens with other people, right? Just because it's not us, or just because it's not our vice, and it's a vice that we maybe loathe more for whatever reason, we shouldn't get hung up on that, right? The idea that we should be rooting for each other to succeed should be innate among Christians. I think it's it is a very key principle. Loving your fellow man, I think this is a requirement of that, right? Disappointment, of course, right? And chastisement when we slip up or we are in error, yes. But there should always be the idea, should always be the hope in us that even the most vile among us are able to come to terms with their sin, with God, seek forgiveness, work to turn away from it, and hopefully be redeemed. Right? Like I said, a lot of people talk about, well, it's not, heaven's not going to be as crowded as everybody thinks, or everybody assumes it's. Well, I want it to be. And you should want it to be. And we should work for that, regardless of how many people accept. Right? I was telling my son this today when we were talking about something. We were talking about something big, right? And you go, and I told him, I was like, you don't need to worry about what other, you shouldn't, especially at this age, you can't determine ultimately how God is going to handle judgment, right? We're given maybe some clues. Some folks might feel like they've got a better grasp on how it's going to go down than me. And I guess I should also take this opportunity, because I forgot to at the beginning, to remind everybody I'm not a professional at this. I'm not a graduate of seminary. I'm not a pastor or a biblical scholar. What you're hearing from me is from 40 plus years of Christianity, born into it, and I've lived through many of my own mistakes. But it's important for us first to make sure that we are living the way we should, the way that God commands, and that people are going to disappoint you. You are going to disappoint yourself. Don't compromise your principles. Don't compromise your principles. Other folks, pray for them. Pray for grace. Pray for wisdom. Pray for all these things, right? So you better understand it. And that they may be granted that forgiveness, and that they may achieve that faith. And with that's done, we shouldn't go, well, why did I have to work so hard and they only had to do it at the very end, right? Does that matter? Does that matter? Should not matter to you. Because the moment you stop forgiving people when they seek forgiveness, the moment you keep bearing down on them is the moment you might find it done to you. And I'm saying that with all with all the understanding that I still have my own hangups on things, right? I still have people I haven't really come to terms with their behavior. Like many of you, I've been betrayed. But I also know that I've screwed up a bunch. And there might be people who feel the same about me. And if I'm not already sorry for it, if confronted with it, I hope that I do. I recognize my failing. If it's an actual thing, sometimes we invent things in our heads that people did wrong. And again, I'm no stranger to that either. I'm sure I've done that plenty of times. But again, you gotta walk that. You got to walk that line very, very consciously. And we have to root for each other. You know. Oh, okay. So, with that said, let's get into the reading. We're going to finish up Joel 3. Nations will be judged. Have we not heard that before? I feel like we've been here before. I think I've seen this movie. We'll see if Joel has any type of different spin on this. For behold, in those climactic days, and at that time, when I restore the fortunes of Judah and Jerusalem, I will gather together all the Gentile nations that were hostile to my people and bring them down into the valley of Jehoshaphat. The Lord has judged, and there I will deal with them and enter into judgment with them there. For their treatment of my people, my inheritance, Israel, whom they have scattered among the nations, and because they have encroached on my land and divided it up, they have also cast lots for my people and have traded a boy for a prostitute and have sold a girl for wine that they may drink. God's building up to something here, right? I'm gathering all these guys, all these peoples who have done wrong by my people. And there's going to be a reckoning. And I don't like how they have taken advantage of my people. I don't like how they've corrupted them. As they said, they cast lots for my people. They've, you know, gambled on it or auctioned them off or whatever, traded a boy for a prostitute, and have sold a girl for wine that they may drink. Valuable things in exchange for physical pleasures or indulgences. Not those indulgences, my Catholic friends. Moreover, what are you to me, O Tyre and Sidon, and all of the 5 small regions of Philistia? Will you pay me back for something I have supposedly done to you? Even if you do pay me back, I will swiftly and speedily return your deed of retaliation on your own head, because he's God, right? Oh, you're gonna do something. Are you gonna mock God? You're gonna thumb your nose at him? You're right. You're gonna basically biting your nose off to spite yourself. Because you have taken my silver and my gold and have carried my precious treasures to your temples and palaces, and have sold the children of Judah and the children of Jerusalem to the Greeks, so that you may send them far away from their territory. Behold, I'm going to stir them up from the place where you have sold them and return them to their land, and I shall return your action of retaliation on your own head. Also, I will sell your sons and your daughters into the hand of the children of Judah, and they will sell them to the Sabians, to a distant nation, for the Lord has spoken. Footnote on that is some archaeologists believe this is to be the ancient kingdom of Sheba, modern day Yemen. The Sabians were involved primarily in the lucrative spice trade, which means they were probably doing some slave trading as well. But it's like, no, what you've done to my people, I will do to yours. And you haven't done good things to them. Wait, what? What's going on, Veritex? Proclaim this among the pagan nations. Prepare a war. Stir up the mighty men. Let all the men of war come near. Let them come up. Beat your plowshares into swords and your pruning hooks into spears. Let the weak say, I am strong. Hurry and come, all you surrounding nations, and gather yourselves there. Bring down, O Lord, your mighty ones, your warriors. Let the nations be stirred into action and come up to the valley of Jehoshaphat. For there I will sit to judge and punish all the surrounding nations. Put in the sickle of judgment, for the harvest is ripe. Come, tread the grapes, for the wine press is full. The vats overflow, for the wickedness of the people is great. Very much. That is much a judgment's going to be crowded. Hell might be crowded. Oh, not quite. Not quite. And actually, like I said, this might be a short stream, but we'll see. The vats overflow, for the wickedness of the people is great. Multitudes in the valley of decision and judgment. For the day of the Lord is near in the valley of decision, where judgment is executed. The sun and the moon grow dark, and the stars lose their brightness. The Lord thunders and roars from Zion, and utters his voice from Jerusalem in judgment of his enemies. And the heavens and the earth tremble and shudder. But the Lord is a refuge for his people, and a stronghold of protection to the children of Israel. Then you will know and understand fully that I am the Lord your God, dwelling in Zion, my holy mountain. The Jerusalem will be holy, and strangers who do not belong will no longer pass through it. Well, you asked how the meeting goes, and it's that's ominous. That's an ominous precursor to that, Veritex. Um, I'm sure you will elaborate. But getting into this, here comes judgment. Judgment day. Now the question is he talking about a judgment day that has already occurred in the Old Testament? Or is he talking about, as one of these events as part of the during the kingdom or after the exile? Or is he talking about Revelation? This is the part where I'm curious, but I don't want to try to, you know, draw many conclusions. Because many times what we see in scripture is that there's multiple levels to what God is saying, right? It doesn't just apply in the moment, or it um doesn't just apply to a single moment of prophecy. It's interesting how often things repeat themselves. So while this might be referring, so in my mind, right? Again, I'm perfectly capable of being wrong. Um, and that could be happening now. This could, I lost my train of thought because I was reading your update, Veritex. We got to a point where we had to take drastic action, and suspension of operations for the most part is the only alternative. So is this licensing related? Yeah, I can imagine that, right? And you go in with your eyes open on things, seeing how much this is hurt, it's how much you're feeling it. Um, I'm sorry you're dealing with it, but be there for her. She needs you as much as you need her at times, um, through the difficult things. And CMS what is CMS hospice? I guess I could ask my wife about that. Uh, be interesting to hear the intricacies of that. That's Center for Medicare Services. Okay. Hard to know what to say when asked why. Oh man, that's always the toughest part, especially when you're dealing with um, especially when you're dealing with an outcome you just don't understand, right? Because and you think about this, right? What you do, and there was a point in my wife's uh business where we were at a very dire crossroads of things. And we were wondering, it's like, because she's very good at what she does. It is very much her calling. I'd said that for years uh, before she started a business, that this was a ministry of sorts, and that's how she runs it now. But you wonder at the side, like, I'm doing something good. I'm doing something to benefit people, right? And we think of um, the most vulnerable people in our community. Often, I think of children, obviously, starting with the very young and the unborn, right? Children, the mentally ill, and the elderly, um, and the those with physical ailments, terminal, right? And hospice often deals with, you know, the end part times of different forms of dementia and brain death, and people dying from serious physical ailments like cancer, right? And that's you want the right people there, and especially people of faith, right? Um, it is such a need for those folks who are going through that, the family, and just the client, as it were, but the family who's with them, and folks who have gone through this process always remember how that hospice took care of them, whether it was um, solid, um, or whether it was poor, right, or mediocre. Harder also because every board member was a Christian who felt it was a calling, and how to move forward, no idea. Well, hopefully there will be. Someone said something about in-home care of some sort of some kind, but you have to have 3-month reserve already. Like what? Nothing left in the reservoir for that. Are they keeping you? Are they keeping you from getting clients, or what? Because we don't deal with Medicare. There are definitely bills and questions if some grants have to be repaid. What prevents you from being able to register as a hospice? Oh, okay. All right. Well, that's enough information for me to get all the. Did they know there was a? Did y'all know there was a moratorium in effect that y'all weren't going to be able to, or were you hoping that they would finally lift the moratorium? That they wouldn't be in place, still in place. Oh, okay. Is there a plan for that moratorium to be lifted? These are all questions I'm probably going to get answers from my wife on when I talk to her about it, because she works very closely with hospice. Yeah, could be indefinite. Wow, yeah, I would say it's indefinite right now, until probably until probably 2 years from now, depending on who gets in office. It could be. Yeah. Well, and I know that I don't necessarily. Yeah. This is one of the problems I think with executives or people. We have people in um in executive positions that either haven't run things or don't understand something, right? So, um, a lot. The unfortunate thing is we used to have, or it seems like we used to live in a very speaking of Joel's, my friend Joel says is a we used to live in a low context, high trust society, right? And we are very so much, especially in the last 20 years, have become a high context, low trust society because people have decided that their personal reputation and their honor and their relationship and how they treat their fellow man is way less important than the amount of money they can make. Oddly enough, coincidentally running in tandem with moving away from God and secular culture, right? Uh, so that's interesting. But well, Veritax, I hope y'all are able to find Oh, praying people Moneta, though. Big Ten content over her. 2 dead. Whoa. That's awful news. I went to the barber today. Got my haircut. Feels good. Where's Moneta? Well, does the storm come through? Because it's raining here. Ugh. Man, it's a lot of bad news today. It's a lot of bad news today. It's a lot of sad news, right? And it comes along with that question of why? Kind of like what you're saying, why this? Right? Um the why of Veritex, the only why I can give is, tragedies happen. And the reason that they're tragic is because somebody ends up getting caught in that mess. Right? A freak storm out of nowhere, a moratorium on a service to help people, intended to help people, put out because of the behavior of other people, right? And that we always hope that we're not caught up in the crossfire, right? Kids go to school, get shot. People get hit by drunk drivers, right? Good folks, people with their whole life ahead of them, die of an aneurysm or get a painful, long-lasting disease diagnosis. So, I'm very sorry for you, Veritex, and your wife in particular, because the desire and the ability to do good and right by your fellow man. I mean, what else to do except for address feelings as they occur, good or bad. We celebrate wins, we mourn losses, we console each other, and we do what we can to support. Right? So, yeah. Yeah. And I know that's going on as well. It probably feels like you're almost at rock bottom, right? But you still seem of sound mind, right? Meaning, as down as you are, you will be ready and prepared to take an opportunity when it comes across, and you will be clear-headed to take that. And yes, we go through severe seasons, Veritex. And unfortunately, your season right now is very hard. And I want that to change. I very much want that to change for you. And I think that not just because it would help you, but I think it would also help other people. Like I said, what your wife is doing is noble and honorable. And it is unfortunately being caught up. No, and I don't think you are. I don't think you are. And it's, and that's one of those things. It's like, yes, we have fraud. Do we have to stop all of it? or stop all the fraud. Do we have to stop all of the charity, all of the good work, all of the services because some folks are folks are misbehaving? But there's plenty of fraud to go around, and there's plenty of fraud being dealt out into DC. You know, my perspective on that would be, yeah, we need to be a little bit more careful. Sure. And do we need to keep an eye on things, especially startups? Very much a probationary period. And I'm not even thinking about a short probationary period. I'm thinking like a 2-3 year probationary period. If we want to be careful, but people still need to be served. People still need this. Yeah, they do. This is less minutes. But if you want to, and you want to know where a lot of the real a lot of the real fraud is, it's in the big city. It's in Richmond. So Veritex, again, rooting for you, praying for you. Jenny, by the way, hi Jenny. I know I saw you popped in earlier, and thanks for the note on the replay crew earlier. But Jenny and Matt, myself, and I know any of our folks on the replay crew will be praying for you, that things turn around and that your plans are realized, or this might be setting you up for something else. But like I said, normally when things start going this way is when you start to keep an eye out for opportunities. So the rich city folk defraud the government, punish poor rural folks who have much more people for a juvenile on hospice come from 2 hours away recently before that. Yeah, because that's where it's. I mean, you could say there is. What is Virginia government doing now? The Virginia government is doing Virginia government things, and I say that with a bit with the fatalism of understanding that politics, particularly in a state that borders the swamp, which was always the best description for it, will be. Yeah. The College Board thing is very interesting. And and it's kind of one of those things where I get that Spamberger is saying that she can, she has the sole right to determine. That's fine, right? To a degree, okay, fine. But tell us what it is. What did he do? And I think that that's what they want to. I think that's what they want to figure out. Oh, they're not. No, nothing. It takes forever to get corruption dealt with in Richmond, right? We're talking about the same. We're talking about the same city that was touting its school systems test results, and it took a very reluctant media to tell everybody that they'd found out that they were cheating on the tests. A systemic cheating problem that went all the way to the teachers, right? This wasn't the kids doing something underhanded, the counting cards at the casino and that kind of stuff. No, this was the teachers were helping and encouraging and facilitating cheating so that the school system wouldn't look like the total failure that it is. To be honest with you, look, a lot of people say a lot of things. I see a lot of people, they're like, evil, blah, 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 blah. Here's the thing about Spamberger. She is a blank slate. She is as wishy-washy as she needs to be on things. She wouldn't have been elected in the first place if they hadn't redistricted my county. You could say gerrymandered my county out of Dave Bratt's district because she didn't win by enough. Hanover would have made him comfortably win. But unfortunately, they did, and she became the congresswoman, right? But she's a glowy, right? And she's not a real operator, though she tries to pass herself off as one. But she's your typical awful, the affluent white liberal urban female, right? Well, I don't. So she's intelligentsia, but she's a government dolt, right? She's not that smart. And part of you can see she's not the way you can see that is because she does not know how to navigate the mess she's in right now. Right? She is completely out of her depth. And she has lost control. So she lacks the ability to lead. But anybody could have seen that. The reason that Winsome Sears lost that election was because of Winsome Sears. She lost. Spanberger didn't win that election. Sears lost it. And when Sears is acting belligerent, Sears should have run as the Marine she put as part of her bio, right? Calm, cool, and collected, articulate, cool under fire, well dressed and manicured, looking good. Like you see Marines in their blues all the time, right? With a plan. She wasn't. And she didn't want to try to run. And Youngkin was a good governor. She didn't try to ride on his coattails. She should have. She should have taken credit for being part of his cabinet or being part of his leadership team. But she didn't. And she showed up looking unkempt. She showed up and was to debates, and instead of, kind of looking like she had a handle on herself, she was berating, right? And everything was a put off. And she couldn't get along with everybody, and and nobody got along with each other, and Reed shouldn't have been the pick for lieutenant governor. But Sears had the story, and she had the personality, at least on paper, to carry that ticket, especially with Jay Jones's screw up. But she lost because she was fighting each other. Yes, smile and nod. She's a lot of people saying she's got visions of the White House. Dude, she's never gonna make it out. If she makes it out of the primary, then great. Because I will say, I was like that. I do not see her having a chance. She is just not likable. She's not a likable person. She is just as boring and empty-headed as, again, government drone, right? And she thinks she likes to pass herself off as an operator. She wasn't. That's why there's only one. There's the picture she could show that she was working with law enforcement was she was at a firing range. Picture her at a firing range, and that's it. That story is crazy. What that story of what's going on in LA is insane. So, but we're way off track. But Vertex, we're praying for you, buddy. Okay. Um, for what it's worth, we're praying for your wife, obviously, but keep your eyes open, keep your prayers coming, and keep waiting, right? Not in our time, but in His. And I know that can come off um, poor or like a platitude, but use it as a marker. All right. So one last section, and we'll be done for the evening. I said, yeah, appreciate it. The evil one is coming after my family, and not just on this visible stuff too. Staying in prayer is all I can do. Yeah. And stress is there. Just be not cognizant of that. And stress is an easy way for Satan to do his work, because it just feeds on ourselves, or it feeds on us, and we like many other things that are destructive, we do it to ourselves in that case. Judah will be blessed. And in that day, the mountains will drip with sweet wine, and the hills will flow with something to look forward to, Veritex. And in that day, the mountains will drip with sweet wine, and the hills will flow with milk. And all the brooks and riverbeds of Judah will flow with water. And the fountain will go out from the house of the Lord to water the desert valley of Shittim. I don't want to pronounce it any other way. Shittim? Shittim. I'll say Shittim. Because this feels like a dangerous word. Egypt will become a waste, and Edom will become a desolate wilderness because of their violence against the children of Judah, in whose lands they have shed innocent blood. This is happening before Jeremiah. This is happening before Isaiah even, I believe. And this is stuff that we were just reading about hundreds of years beforehand. But Judah shall be inhabited forever, and Jerusalem from generation to generation. And I shall avenge their blood, which I have not avenged, for the Lord dwells in Zion. All right. That is our show tonight. Okay. I hope y'all got something out this. And just a reminder to everybody, no streams next week. Pick it back up on the schedule, regular schedule, Monday, Wednesday, Friday schedule on the following Monday. And we'll start with Amos. All right. So go bring out your butter churners, start quilting, raise your barns, and bust out those horse-drawn buggies, because we're doing we're entering the Amish names portion of the Old Testament. All right. So guys, have a good weekend. When I come back, hopefully Veritex, you're in a better place. But in the meantime, we're rooting for you. Matt Felty, Jenny, thanks for being part of the chat. Y'all are all great, even if you're not in your best, right? Even if you're not at your best. I love you guys and care about you. And I appreciate that y'all spend time with me and go through this with me and be part of this. You are part of this project. You are part of this channel. You're not just a viewer. And to the viewers who aren't part of the chat, look, I just want to make sure you guys know you are appreciated and you are in look, a local boy kicked me in the butt last week. I kicked him back. Just want to know you guys' views are appreciated. And I understand that, you might not want to or might not be able to be part of the chat. I just want you to know you're encouraged to do so. I want to hear from you, right? But I'm really just glad you're here, whether I hear you or not, whether I can read what you say or not. And thank you as well for being part of the show. And everybody catching this on replay crew, First off, thank you for watching. Sorry I missed you, and I hope to catch you live sometime soon. Everybody have a good, safe, prosperous, exciting, relaxing, productive weekend. Safe. Be safe, guys. Safe week. Pray. Pray for Veritex. Pray for folks who need it. Pray for yourself. Go to church. Go to church. Go to church and worship the Lord. And we'll see you. We'll see you in good time. All right. In the meantime, good night. And God bless.